I'm the first one to do that. I bet you never knew that. Back like a tailbone. Who you got the tail on? If it ain't about me, about whole D, about face. If you ain't on higher, learn it. The soda in the pot and the fire, burn it.
This shit is so dope. You might wanna be my guest. This shit is so dope. You might wanna be my.
Berserk, the Golden Age Arc 1, The Egg of the King, is a Japanese film that is also an adaptation to Kentaro's work of the Berserk series that has been licensed by Viz Media and has been produced by Studio 4Z. In a world torn apart by a century-old war, Guts, a lone mercenary, is hired by a company to fight for a dream its leader is determined to realize. This film has had a lot of mixed reviews, some good and some bad, because you have people that has been a fan of the Berserk franchise since 1997. In fact, they have actually watched, some people have actually watched the 1997 project into that timeline span, and they have been waiting and begging for a continuation standpoint. And I understand, because after me watching the 1997 project recently, I can see how people can be pulled into the Berserk franchise and be fans. So, waiting all the way into this generation to get an update and to get a film, this is where the criticism began to divide by people loving it and people hating it. And I understand. I can understand why people liked the film and people hated the film. Because Berserk, the Golden Age 1, The Egg of the King, I thought it was great. I thought it was pretty damn good. I was enjoying it more than I was anticipating to. But this movie got some problems, man. This movie got some pretty noticeable problems that I have to address. This movie actually picks up the same way how the beginning of the franchise of the 1997 series has picked up. But at the same time, this is a relapse film. So, for people that are huge anime fans and y'all follow the films that is based on the animes and is just a forward lap of you getting into the franchise before you have to watch like 20 or 30 episodes and you just want to watch the film, the Golden Age Arc 1 is just like this. And I did not think that was I didn't think that was a problem, because it wasn't as if it was the exact carbon paste of it. They added some stuff into this film that I thought that was pretty necessary. They added some scenes onto this film that made it fresh and made me get back into the loop of the Berserk faithful. And at the same time, it made me get into the more engaging aspects of me being hooked into the characters all over again. Like Guts, for example, they have been more fluid with his character, but at the same time, it's like a double-edged sword. I could be wrong on this, but I think they made Guts on this movie a little bit more lighthearted than I expected. They made him more understanding. They made him more lifelike. And I think that's because on the 1997 version, they made him already an asshole, but you understand it because what the show has given us. But I guess they want to make him more realistic. But at the same time, Casca is more of a bitch than normal. They made her more of a feisty chick than I anticipated, and to prove this, Guts calls her a bitch way more than I expected it to. But I thought it was necessary, because by her being more of an asshole and Guts being more lighthearted, they show you how broken Guts is, and I thought that was pretty unique. If Guts is more of a nicer person, he's cracking jokes and he is smiling more than normal, we have Casca here that's going to put him in line and really frail up his character, which shows how fragile Guts is. And I thought that was pretty well executed, in my opinion. They didn't really change Griffith that much. They did not. In fact, I'm going to have to tell you that they have kind of nerfed Griffith in a way. Now, Griffith is my all-time favorite character in the Berserk series. And the reason why I'm saying they nerfed him is because they have cut off certain things that was very important to Griffith's character that I did not understand why they cut off. Like, for example, Griffith's hard iron eagle stare that he gives people. We have that here, but it's not as compelling as the original. I'm gonna be doing a lot of comparisons here, so get ready for that. They actually decided to add more explicit content as well on this movie. Now we got the blood and gore, we got the violence. So I was not surprised to see this. I feel like if you're gonna do a relapse recreation HD version, we need to have more and more detail of what makes this show strong. And they didn't shy away from it, especially the explicit content of nudity. You're gonna see a lot of Casca's vagina on here. Very strict warning for those who are not comfortable with explicit content. I don't know why, since we're all older. I will say though that this anime, even though this is a relapse, again, they decided to add some things onto this anime that even though I've seen, and we have seen the 1997 version, they actually explain certain things on this anime that they have not explained in the original. That made a lot of sense now. They have unwrapped a lot of things out of the box, and they showed us why things are the way they are towards certain characters, certain enemies, and just certain ways of how they conduct themselves in the heat of battle or when they're under pressure. But this is where the criticism comes in, because even though they explain a lot of things on this project, they also took away certain elements of this project that left a lot of people hanging, especially newcomers of the Berserk series, and they want to just watch the film. You're going to be more confused of why things are the way they are. And I don't understand why they took away some important scenes on this film that has to attach these characters' dialogue to make us understand where they are, just how they end up being the way they are. I don't know why they did this. I felt like that was unnecessary, and I feel like that was not a little bit. I feel like this was very unnecessary cutting for the character development cycle. Another thing I do not like, and I don't know how people are going to feel about this, I don't like the animation. I feel like the animation on here, it did not feel like an upgrade to the Berserk original series. It did not. It did not at all. Now we have remakes, remasters of franchises that we have seen from back then, and they do pretty well. But I just don't like the 3D look that they are giving these modern animes now that we've known and loved from back then. Fully Cooley is doing this, and it's just Dragon Ball Z has done this too. I just don't like it. I feel like there are certain animes that does this and it works off pretty well. Evangelion done it and it worked out perfectly. Mashing the 3D animation to the Avas and the robots and having the characters stay animated, I thought that was perfect. I thought that was beautiful. Vandred is like this too. A lot of animes that is based on the time frames of them being in space and having robots, the 3D animation is completely necessary. But if you're gonna have an action anime or a drama anime or anime where people are just fighting, you don't need that shit. Now they do have some very great scenes on this film that look beautiful, but some of them stands out that looks pretty bad. My point is, if you're gonna remake something, I shouldn't have to point out scenes that looks good and point out scenes that looks bad. If you're gonna make the movie look better, everything should be looking better. This is actually a pretty big letdown for me, because by this 3D animation being in charge of this movie, it took away a lot of scenes that pulled me in, especially the part where Guts was beginning to fight Zod, and they took away certain great elemental art scenes into the background and just the way how he looked, especially when he transformed to a demon. I didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel engaged. I didn't feel that fear aspect as I did when I first watched the 1997 version, because it's 3D. It took me away from the whole fear aspect. I was not engaged as I was. Again, if you're gonna do this, you need to pull a fantasy. You need to bring an A game. But this just shows you that 3D animation is not gonna work with every animation. And I hope I make this clear. Overall, this anime is okay. It's not bad. But at the same time, I can understand why people, especially Berserk fans, are really bashing on this film or just the projects ahead of it. Because these are people who waited way longer than I have. And I can't even imagine how y'all feel. I can't even imagine how y'all feel about seeing this and feeling like, damn, this could have been a lot better. I'm gonna have to give Berserk, the Golden Age Arc 1, The Egg of the King, a C-. This is a big letdown. This is a big letdown for me. Again, I thought it was great, but it could have been a lot better. Maybe my expectations was a lot higher, but again, I can only imagine how OG fans of the Berserk series from 1997 up till now can feel at this point. Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear y'all feedback about it. Maybe y'all do like the movie way more than I do, so I'm open to any type of criticism that is necessary. But at that same time, I hope I pulled y'all fans in so y'all can stay tuned of me watching these other franchises, these other projects. So please bear with me. Other than that, that's all I have to say for today. Please stay tuned for upcoming reviews and videos headed your way. This is Hugo, your pretty teacher, and you guys have a good day.